When the sun rises, I wake up and chase my dreams. I won't regret when the sun sets, 'cause I live my life like I'm a beast. I'm a motherfucking 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 beast. When the sun rises, I wake up and chase my dreams. I won't regret when the sun sets, 'cause I live my life like I'm a beast. I control my breath, keep my body ready, focus on the finish, and keep my head steady. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. What?
Hey guys, welcome back. I was just gonna give a quick update on what's kind of going on around here. So in the last few months, we've kind of taken a big undertaking of a garage project in the backyard. It's a 30 by 40. It's gonna be 12-foot ceilings, and it's gonna have a 2-bedroom apartment for my mother and mother-in-law above it. I don't know. But my dad recently died, and so she's single, my mother-in-law's single, and with the economy the way it is, the most effective way or efficient way for them to utilize the money they have is just to have an apartment behind us. So we're undertaking that now. There'll be kind of at the back of the property. That being said, I'll have a 4-car garage. Roughly I can put 4 cars in. The plan is to have a lift on each side, a drive one that goes up, put a car on that and one on each side, and then have a little open space in the middle to work on cars. And then also have my regular garage in here. On the house garage hopefully is just going to be for like projects and stuff. So there's a couple things coming down that I plan to do. One of the things is a buddy of mine, he's a 96 to 98 Cobra kind of an expert. He's got a pretty sick supercharged 96 98 right now, low mileage, 40,000 mile car that he's kind of turned into like it's a full-on I don't know if you call it a street strip car or what at this point. It leans more towards race, but it's still streetable. But he's doing a 1,000 horsepower build with twin turbos and a fairly built bottom end. Kind of a neat project. It's gonna be a stock cammed car with twin turbos, and I'm trying to make 1,000 plus at the wheel. So I'll have him on here soon. I'm gonna do a little video of his setup and what he's got going on. But that all kind of leads to the next project I kind of want to do. I've got a few things in mind. One of the things I've been wanting to do, I've built 3 V8 Rangers, all of them small block Ford, an 84 chop top. It was, door handles is back in the late 90s. Shaved door handles, shaved stake post, C4 302, just nice little driver. And then I had a 94 with a fuel injected 5.0 and a C4 and 410s. And then of course my current one. So the next thing I'm kind of wanting to do is same body style. It doesn't matter if it's step side or regular bed, whatever. But what I wanted to do for a while is do a 96 to 98 Cobra motor. I don't know if I'll do a Cobra. It doesn't really matter because I'm not going to go supercharged or forced induction, I don't believe. So what I'm really wanting to build, and I may just end up building it to sell, is a 96 to 98 style 4.6 4-valve. It might be a Mark 8 because they're a little cheaper. Cobra intake, and then like a T45 build. And then my buddy that has a Cobra, he's really good at tuning. He's self-taught. So I don't know if we'll go with like a standalone unit there and let him tune it that way. But 305 horse, not really torque monsters, but I think it'd just be cool to have something that makes 305 horsepower stock and, let it eat, running up to 7,000 plus RPMs, just something a little different than what I'm used to. Smooth little motors, no cam, just nice exhaust on it and make it sound good. So that's the plan there. I've never really shown much of the motors on here. The 408's still at the shop. It's still at my builder's. He's just kind of checking it out, going through it. So I've been doing a little cleanup on the cars. One thing I want to ask you guys, for the Mustang guys, what is the best, I don't know what you call it, automatic hood risers or whatever they call them. I had a set that I had bought that I wasn't real fond of. I really want something that I ain't got to drill, like that bolts to the fender wells. And then I've seen a few different styles. They're kind of pricey now, but if somebody could give me an honest opinion on a set they have and kind of how they've worked out for them, I really want a good set that I don't have to drill into the hood or anything, that I can just bolt onto the existing latch. So let me know. So one of the things that I need to figure out here soon, this is my 383. I know it's a kind of a weird combo. If you look them up, these are good in between. So the builder that builds my motors, he said that these motors are really good at high revving. So you put a good flowing head on them, and with the stroke and piston skirt combination they have, these flow really well, and they turn a lot of RPMs. I mean, they've been known on a stock block to hold 75 to 8,000 RPM. So I built this motor. This is kind of another one of those deals where I bought a 94 Cobra, a 95 Cobra a couple years ago, and it had this motor in it that had a burnt piston. So I ended up parting the car out, made really, really well. It had a Novi 2000 on it, and had a TKO 500, had a lot of parts, and this guy's wife, apparently, she was kind of batshit crazy, and she had threatened to tear the car up, burn the car if he didn't put any more money into it. So it was one of them. I was on Marketplace. The car was super clean, and all it said was 94 or 95, I can't remember. Rhino Red Cobra, built, $4,000. Doesn't run. Probably that doesn't run threw some people off. So what happened was, I contacted the guy who was in Bowling Green, Kentucky. He kind of gave me a brief summary of what the car had. I knew at that point I wanted it. When I got there, I was kind of surprised to see it literally had a brand new TKO 500 with like 12 miles on it. You could still see the handprints from them putting it in. It had, aftermarket wheels. It had the big, I think it's called Big Stuff tuning on it back in the day. That was kind of popular. So it had a standalone. It had this 383 stroker. It had a Novi 2000. It had a custom intake. This car had everything. So I bought the car, $4,000, and as you can imagine, I made quite a bit of money on it. So the plan was originally to sell this motor, but once I got it home and realized what it was, I figured there's no point in getting rid of it. So I took it to my engine builder. He wasn't real fond of the block, so I had another FT4E roller block. I hope it's there as F4. I never can say it right. ST4E, I guess, a roller block. He didn't really like the block that it had, so I took him another block. He did the machine work, used the stock, the aftermarket crank, which is a forged crank, forged pistons and forged rods. The pistons in it, I could have bought just one, but I had ended up on eBay. You can do a search alert. On the search alert, I had put in for 383 30 over pistons. Well, one day I got an alert. This wholesaler out of California was selling these probe pistons with a slight retest. I think there's a 10cc dish or something. He was going out of stock, getting out of the business. I bought all 4 of these for $100 shipped to the door, or all 8 of them, I mean, for $100 shipped to the door. And they're a forged piston. So it's got forged pistons, forged rods, forged crank. It's a 94 roller block. It has a main girdle. It should be a very stout motor. The plan was for this, and it still is. It's never been ran. The plan for this is to go in the yellow car. I think I've talked about this many times before, but the yellow car just keeps going faster and faster and faster with this, 351 in it. So it's been in there 12 years. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would have swore this motor would have been gone by now, and I'd be well into this one. So the plan for this is to do this motor with a custom cam, probably, mid 600 lift cam, custom cam, a big set of 225 heads, and like a YSI blower. I'm not going turbo. I'm going to go YSI. I want to make 850 to 900 at the wheel, more if possible, but I think that's realistic. And spin it to about 7,000. Hopefully it stays together. If it does, it does. If it don't, no. I have $1,200 in this whole motor build. That's machine work, pistons, the whole 9 yards. It's less than $1,200. So if something happens to this, so be it. But it's a really good combo. If you look these up, they're kind of a mild. They make, most of them naturally aspirated with a flat top, make around 490 to 520 at the wheel. I mean at the flywheel. So they're a great base. You can spin them high. They got a really good rod to, what they call it, stroke to rod ratio. So a lot of people don't know about these, but they are a good motor. As soon as the 408 gets home, my biggest dilemma right now is, and y'all comment below what y'all think, my biggest dilemma is, this truck runs so good. The only thing I've had to do to it in 2.5 years, I had to replace the HEI coil, and well, not even the coil, mainly just the rotor button had burned through. That's a common issue apparently. So I had to replace that because I was getting a random misfire. So in 2.5 years I've had this truck. That's really all I've done. So I hate to mess with this, but this motor's tired. I mean, it runs great, it drives great, it gets decent gas mileage. It still pull down 19-20 miles a gallon on the interstate with the 410s, but it's got a lot of miles. Buddy of mine, Craig Mays, shout out to him, great guy. He gave me this motor, and I think I've talked about this maybe before too, but this motor was sitting in his garage for a couple, 3-4 years, and long story short, it had been in his 92 Fox. It had some heads, a cam and intake, nitrous for a long time, and then it got a Vortec on 12 pounds, and then he took that out and put another motor. It has a little bit of blow by. It's not excessive, but it's there. You can see it on the videos. It'll puff a little bit between pulls. Compression's good all the way around, but I'm sure this motor could use a refresh. But it doesn't use any oil, and it doesn't seem to be hurt bad enough that it's hurting anything. I mean, it still made 300 to the wheel on Lee Blankenship's dyno, and 311 torque, 312 torque. So I mean, the motor's putting out about what it should with the heads and cam combo it has. It's probably a little better than it should, to be honest. So my question is, this 408, the only thing that's even remotely holding me back is, one, a little bit of reliability. I'm a little worried to go to that kind of motor and lose some reliability. But two, the main obstacle I'm worried about is header clearance. Everybody in all the forums I read says that I'm most likely going to have to go to a custom header. So I'm kind of on the fence on whether I even want to mess with a 351 based engine in this truck, or if I'm just going to do like a 347 stroker with some nitrous. Either way, this truck needs more. 300 horsepower is great. It was fun back in, I don't know, 20 years ago. But as you all know, everything's so fast now that 300 horsepower barely, it's barely faster than a Camry. So I'm just kind of on the fence on what I want to do here. So y'all tell me, do I suck it up and, the saying goes, suck it up, buttercup, and throw the 408 in here and figure out the header situation? Or do I just build a 347 or 331? I'm a big fan of a 331. I had one of those for the yellow car, and it made 470 horse naturally aspirated. I really like a 331. I don't know, 347. I know they've came a long way with the whole oiling and blow by and all that. I know they had some oiling issues back in the day where they would use excessive amounts of oil. So I know that's not really a problem. So I just want to know what y'all think. Should I go with 408? Should I keep with the ease? And if it was your truck, not telling me what to do, but what would you do? Would you go with the ease of a 8.2 deck motor, or would y'all step it up and try to go to this 408 I have? Because I'm gonna have both on the stand. The 383 for that truck really ain't an option. It probably, in this configuration with a good cam and intake and heads, would probably make 450 because of the dish piston. It might make 460. I don't know, 470. It depends. If everything was great. But in the yellow car, that's where the potential's at. It'll end up in the yellow car. I know the potential with the forged bottom end and everything. I won't have to worry about it. I can throw the boost to it and kind of go from there. So you guys tell me, 408, 331, 347, what do y'all think? I'm not opposed to pulling this motor out and sending it to my builder and just having him go through it and do that. The other option that I've considered is just freshening this motor up with a set of rings. It doesn't use any oil, doesn't really leak any oil really. Oil pressure is solid. Even the hottest days of summer, it holds 25, 30 pounds of oil pressure. My other option was maybe just having it re-ringed using the factory pistons and rods, crank that's in it, and doing a blow-through setup with a supercharger. You know, again, just kind of on the fence on what to do here. Parts wise, I've sold a lot of stuff here lately. I sold a buddy of mine quite a few things. He ended up buying this intake. He bought the Vortec supercharger that's back here covered up. He bought it. That was off this blue car I bought. We did confirm, he called Vortec, it was a V1 SI upgrade. I need to sell these headers. They're 1 7/8, I believe. 94, 95 swap header for a automatic AODE. I need to sell them. I've got this whole shelf full of miscellaneous stuff. Just a lot of random parts. So I need to get that sorted out and get the rest of that sold. But y'all tell me, what is y'all's opinion? This is one of them videos where I kind of want to know what y'all think. The Mustang, I'm probably not going to mess with right now. It's just running so damn good. I took it out last weekend. I'll probably try to throw a video in. Me and my oldest son took it out. We was going to go to Waffle House, get something to eat. It had a long wait, so we ended up at Dairy Queen. Me and him ended up making 2 or 3 good hammer pulls out on the main road. We tried the paddle shift out. It worked out great. It's just running so good. And this new radiator setup, I've got to back the fans off. I had the fan set up to come on at 170 and kick off at 150, I believe. Well, hell, I couldn't get this thing up past 160 all day. Running as hard as I wanted. It was running like 160 degrees. So, you know, it was a cooler day. It was like 65 that day. So, the intake, I mean, the radiator set up with the factory fan with this new code case, man, it's just night and day from the Mishimoto I had. I've still got the old Mishimoto here. You know, can't really complain. It kept the car under 210 on the hottest of days. But it's just, if you look, it's just so thin. It's not much. It's double the thickness of a factory one, but the code case is double the thickness of this Mishimoto. Now, keep in mind, I bought this Mishimoto 12 years ago, so it's definitely performed well. So if you need a cheap, reliable radiator and you have 500 or so horsepower, it'll do it. This Ranger, I run a factory Ford Explorer 5.0 radiator. It just sits right down in there. And I got 2 little 10-inch fans, which I'll probably upgrade. But this thing, summer AC on, runs 190 or below. It's kind of crazy. I would have never thought that a factory radiator would have kept up that well, but it does. So that's kind of what's going on here. The garage project, the 408's out at the shop. I'll be keeping it. I've got all the specs on it. It's a it's forged pistons, forged rods, and a cast crank, I believe. So that's one of the reasons it's not going to get boost. I'm not going to throw boost to it because I don't think it'll hold up to what I'm wanting to do. So probably just end up in this truck or maybe another project. But what do y'all think about the Ranger project I've got in mind? You know, like I said, this same body style, you know, 04, 05, 06, I don't know, up to 2010, 11. What do y'all think about that? Is that something y'all think would be interesting content? Like a whole build series, you know, get the truck, bring it in, do like just like I did this one, strip it down, put a B-headed 4.6 in it, T45, standalone. You know, it's not going to be fast. It takes quite a bit of money for these B-headed motors to build these bottom ends and stuff. I have no interest in that. I'm not going to supercharge it, just something to cruise around in and then see if there's any interest. I may sell it. Ultimately, the last thing, my cars are kind of based on what I wanted when I was in high school in the late 90s, early 2000s. I graduated in 01. It doesn't matter how much money we get. It doesn't matter how much money I obtain. I'm not a Lambo guy or a Corvette guy. Not that I have anything against Corvettes. I'm not against any of those things. But for me, the things that I wanted in high school was a sick 94, 95, because that was my first real car. A sick little Ranger, because that was my first truck I ever owned. My first thing I owned was 14, was a 302 swapped Ranger. And then I bought my own 94 when I was in my junior year. I went and bought a 94 and blew it up the third day. So I wanted a sick Ranger, I wanted a 94, 95, and then the last thing that I didn't think I'd ever obtain back then was a, second gen Lightning. And so, Dad leaving that to me, I have that. So the last piece of that puzzle for me is really one or two cars left that I want for my collection, and to anybody else they're not important. Nobody really cares. But I want a 94, 95, somewhere around there. 5-speed, it could be an auto, Super Coupe. I watch videos all the time. I kind of constantly studying about them. What kind of did it in, I've always wanted one. I wanted one in high school, but what kind of did it in for me was we was at a dyno day at Lee Blankenship shop, and one come in with a group of them and made 600 and I think right at 620, 30 horsepower at the wheel. Still a blower car, 3.8, I think it was a stroke or custom cam, worked heads. I don't want to make anything like that. I'd like to have one, do basic bolt-ons, make 300 horsepower or so, and I'll be happy. I just really want a clean one that looks good. There's a blue color I'm really interested in. I tried to buy one this summer from a guy out of Virginia, but there was just so many red flags when I got to talking to him. I didn't want to make the trip and then be disappointed. So I'm on the internet all the time, kind of searching them. And then the last thing I'll probably buy after I get a Super Coupe is something that I tried to buy when I was younger and I could never find one in good shape. It's going to be even harder now, is a early 90s or late 80s turbo probe, 4-cylinder probe, 5-speed. I've always thought those were kind of neat cars, 4-cylinder turbo, 5-speed. Back in the day, they were just quick little cars, and I know there's several people that build them and do decent with them. Don't care anything about that, just like to have a clean one, black, red, white, whatever, silver. Get one of those later on down the road. So that's kind of where I'm at. Just try to get the collection that I want and that I dreamed of in high school, and I'll be happy. I don't need all the fancy cars that all these people need. I'm happy with what I have, and I enjoy them, and I enjoy building them. I like working on them more than I like driving them, to be honest. I put way less miles on them than I do time actually wrenching on them. I like washing them and cleaning them and keeping them running, and driving them's fine. I like it, it's fun, but I really like tinkering with them. That's my passion. It's just what I enjoy. So y'all tell me, comment, like, share, make sure you subscribe. Thank you guys, appreciate you.